Welcome to Strong Personalities. This is your host, Yanni Bear, bringing you the big muscle behind all the big personalities in strongman. Today, I have Sophia Sharp. Sophia, how are you doing?
I'm great today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for jumping on here. I know you have big competitions coming up, starting off with the Clash on the Coast. Now, you qualified for Clash on the Coast by competing at the Jersey Clash. Tell me about the Jersey Clash and your experience there.
So going into that, I didn't exactly have a long prep. It was probably about a month or two, maybe. We had kind of picked it up last minute because previous to that, I was looking for some sort of way into the Arnold, and the only way I could have done that was through LA. So we picked up a Clash competition, and I had a really short prep for it. And we were kind of just going into it, really hoping to get another big show under my belt. So we showed up. I did absolutely terrible on the log, which is not my best event. And then we had a movement medley, and the ladies absolutely crushed it. That was supposed to be my banker, and I came in third. And then we had throwing, which went really well. I threw single arm the 25 bag over the 13-foot bar. So going into the second day, I was in fourth, I believe, or third. Coming back the second day, I was really going to have to fight it back. My brother kept on telling me, you're going to have to fight for this kid. You're the one who's going to want it more. So going into the stones, it came down to the stone off for the invite, and I was able to beat out two ladies and earn my invite through third place.
So you talk about how you were trying to sign up for a big competition, but I feel I've only seen you at big competitions because I've seen you at OSG. I've seen you at the Southwest Regionals, which is the first time I had ever seen you. You got first at the 2021 Strongman Corp Team Nats. When have you not been in a big competition?
That's actually funny you mentioned that. I kind of went in reverse order doing the whole strongman thing. I think 2021 was my first ever show, and I competed novice at Lift Me I'm Irish. And I took absolute dead last out of 13 women. And then, I mixed grip, underhand, clean and axle. I tripped over my feet on the frame. It was not the best show out. And then after that, I think I went to another novice show. Still did not do well. And I was just kind of gaining strength along the way. And we eventually decided we're just going to do an open show. Even though we haven't taken first in novice, we're just going to try it. And I tried my first open show. I think it was Noble's Strongest at a local gym near here. And I placed second, I believe, which wasn't too bad, but it was out of 3 women. So, and then after that was regionals. I didn't qualify through there, but we qualified for OSG through the online qualifier, and ended up showing up to OSG, which was great. It was a great experience. I definitely learned a lot, met a lot of people that I've been looking up to for the longest time on strongman. And then kind of went home. We did the Clash qualifiers, and the week right after Clash qualifiers, I went to a local show to support some of my buddies and compete there. And that was actually the first local show I've ever won, was at the Barnes Gym Strongest.
That's an awesome journey. So I'm just curious, what are the origins of you in the strength world, not just strongman? Because I noticed that you also did some powerlifting. Tell me what your journey's been like in the strength world.
I started out because I play high school softball. So it was my freshman year. Quarantine had just hit in 2020, and my brother started building a little garage gym for us. We had a few plates, a makeshift deadlift platform my dad had made for us. And so I started powerlifting to get better for softball, because originally the dream was D1 softball, get a scholarship with that, go to a cool school. And I did well with powerlifting. I ended up taking a bunch of Virginia State records at 14, 15, a world record with APA, I think. And then, one day we were out here squatting, and my brother had just built his first few Atlas stones, and he had made one that we call the Pebble now, because it's just a little warm up for us. It's the 100-pound stone, but he got me out there lifting that. And after that, I was hooked on strongman. I couldn't stop with it.
Okay. So powerlifting to help softball. Then you became a strongman athlete. Which one are you better at, strongman or softball?
I would say probably strongman, just because more recently I haven't been able to practice softball as much because of it. But, dreams change. No longer have the D1 aspirations. I'd rather be world's strongest woman. I think that's a way cooler sounding thing. It's not every day you meet the world's strongest woman, you know?
That's very true.
Okay.
All right. So we were just talking about how you rather be the world's strongest woman versus, D1 athlete in softball. And you've been talking about how you're in that group chat with all those strongman competitors. Which one of them has given you the best feedback that's helped you develop into the athlete you are right now from that group specifically?
Oh, goodness. I'd have to say probably Sue. I competed with her a while back at Brooklyn Strongest, and that was the first time I met her. She destroyed me, completely destroyed me, and I was still like a baby in the sport, and I thought I had seen her at, one of the big shows, maybe OSG or Clash or something, and to my surprise, I think it was one of her first shows too. But since then, she's kind of been my mom at these shows that I've seen her at. She was cheering me on at every single event. At the deadlift, I think in the back of the deadlift video, you can see her jumping up and down as soon as I pulled that 450 deadlift. She is just a huge support for me.
Okay. And then what are the advantages and disadvantages of being, on average, I think you've probably been the youngest athlete at almost every competition you've been at, because for the Clash, you're going in at 17. At OSG, you were 16. So again, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being the youngest athlete at these competitions?
I'd have to say a huge advantage is I just get to learn a lot. I get to meet a lot of people that have a lot more experience in the sport than I do, and I get to soak that in from a lot of big names. It's nice to be able to learn new techniques from people and pick that up as you go, especially since I'm so young in the sport. It's good to get that at the beginning of my journey with it. Some disadvantages would probably be the fact that my stroke strength isn't exactly there yet. I'm a lot better at like movement events because I can pick up stuff and move with it and be fast, but I can't exactly press a 205-pound log or deadlift 450 like all these huge ladies. It's crazy.
How tall are you?
6 foot-ish.
Yeah. I remember you're also being on the taller end. Because on the log, I remember for the Jersey Clash one, I saw your arms stick out, and I was like, oh, those are long arms. Those are not built for logs. So
it's not good for pressing.
Is that your kryptonite, log?
Yeah,
log press?
It definitely is. I'd say out of all pressing events, log is probably my worst. We getting into training that for Clash, I started, I want to say probably with 115-pound logs as my working set, because I just can't do it. It pulls me really far forward, and I don't know.
Hey, I'm a big supporter of getting rid of the log because I hate the log myself.
Me too.
So yeah. So you've mentioned your brother, you've mentioned your dad. Who all makes up your support system?
I mean, it definitely has to be my family. My dad, he built almost everything in the gym for us. We have a homemade frame, a homemade sled, a homemade deadlift platform. He helped build all the stones. My mom helps with the meal prep. She gets all the hotels in order when we're traveling and makes me cool shirts. So, and my brother, he is my absolute rock in the sport. I mean, he's currently my coach, and he's the one who got me into it. So he just gets me through everything. He's a psych major, so he's also helping a lot with the mental aspect of it, which I think is really, really important, especially for me. I'm not going to be a lot stronger than some of these women, but I am able to kind of tune in on that mental aspect and be smart about what I'm doing when I'm competing.
So, going through your Instagram, one of the things that I really enjoyed seeing from such a young athlete is the fact that I think almost every single post that was a recap on a competition was you just breaking down what you did well at, what you're going to improve on, and always calling it a learning experience. So major props to that. You're never beating yourself up. So great job on that. And obviously props to your brother. Quick question. How do you deal with your brother being your coach? I have 6 older sisters, and I don't know if I could get coached by my sisters.
You know what? It's difficult sometimes. I can tell you that. There's a lot of times where I'll have to call him and yell at him to send me programs, or he'll be coaching me in the gym and he'll just get on me like a brother would. And it is quite annoying, but I think it also has some good sides to it. Nobody's going to know me better than my brother will. And I think it's a lot more personal than it would be with an online coach or somebody I just hired. And I think it's definitely working the best it can for me. He probably will be the best coach I can have, and I really enjoy having him on my side.
That's good. I was wondering if the sibling rivalry would ever come up during coaching moments. Do you ever just make faces at him or anything like that? Or
it definitely does. So the whole reason I kind of got into strongman, I mean, like I said, he pulled me into it, but I was not, ever since I was little, anything that he did, I wanted to do better, which is why I started softball. He played baseball growing up, so I got into baseball because I wanted to be better than him. He started lifting, I started lifting. Anytime, like, I got my world record before he could get a world record. I went to worlds before he could go to worlds. So it's a rivalry type thing, and he did win a local show before me though. So
have you heard that song, Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better?
Yes, I have.
I feel like that's the theme song in your head when you're competing with your brother.
Very much. It's quite a driving force for me.
He's going to listen to this interview. He's like, well, I'm going to program even more lunges and deadlifts. And, oh, you don't like cardio? We're going to do more cardio now. Yeah. That would be me if I was coaching my sister. All right. So we were talking about your dad building everything, your brother being the coach, and then your mom booking all the hotels and the meal prep and the shirt. I want to talk about that shirt because one of the things that we talked about before we started this interview is that you are known for your facial expressions, like the one for the Clash on the Coast. You're looking straight up while you're doing a deadlift, and we joked around that it was just you like, hey, God, it's me again. If I could get a little boost on this deadlift. But your mom made a shirt for, was it regionals?
It was for OSG.
Okay, for OSG. Tell me about that one.
So kind of going into OSG, I'd always been talking about how strongman they all have cool nicknames, you know, like the Mountain or I wanted a cool nickname going into it. So we were thinking about it for a long time. And the coolest that we came up that felt appropriate was the Kid. And we kind of joked around about making shirts for it. And we came up with this goofy little design of me in training.
I'm here for the Kid.
Training events. I do make quite silly looking lifting faces. So we decided to play on that and just have my whole little cheering section have shirts that say I'm here for the Kid with my goofy lifting face on it.
So you've talked about that group chat, and then I just interviewed Claire Myler, and she wanted to know if you ever catch any flack at school for being so much stronger than most of the students at your school.
You know what? I don't think I get any crap for it. A lot of the people are really supportive, although it definitely is a huge confidence boost when you get some of like the little freshman football players coming up to you and being like, how much you deadlift? And you can tell them you deadlift 400 plus, and they just kind of look at you with this look of amazement. But it's a good support group over there. A lot of the guys are pushing me. A lot of the girls are cheering me on all the time. It's great.
Good. How do you deal with the good and the bad feedback that a female athlete gets on social media? Because I'm sure you've seen some of the nasty comments that some of your other athletes get.
Yeah. You know what? I don't get very many negative comments so far because I'm still quite young in the sport, but I'm sure I will at some point.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to approach that is to just ignore it. I mean, and prove them wrong. I'm going to be a strong woman no matter what. And I'm going to be, if you're insecure about the fact that I'm stronger than you, I don't think you should be hopping on the internet to comment on somebody's post about it. I really don't think that's something you should be doing in your free time. But I'm going to continue doing me, and I'm going to continue getting stronger. And if people want to hate on it, they can.
All right. So I know faith is a big thing for you. It's a big part of your life. It's a big part of your journey. You actually, on your social media, you have 1 Corinthians 10:31, which is, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Tell me how you incorporate that into your daily routine.
I've kind of, going into lifting every single training session, I kind of want to think about how can I use this to glorify God? What can I do going forward that's going to, get the word out to people about Jesus, let everybody know the good news. And I think with lifting, the best way to do that is to act as Jesus would and act as a godly athlete and just do whatever you can to be loving to others and to show God in your sport. And I think, that means supporting others like we do in this community. That's why I love it so much. I mean, it's probably the best community I've ever been in. Everybody supports everyone. And just loving one another, being kind with your words, everything like that.
Yeah, strongmen are very supportive. I don't know if they're kind with their word all the time because we talk a lot of trash. We talk a lot of trash right before we start competing against each other. But yeah, it is a good community, and thank you for sharing that. for Clash on the Coast, let's get to that one. What event are you not looking forward to? What event are you excited for?
I'm definitely not looking forward to the log. My pressing has never been the best. It's definitely a little bit of a poverty press, but we can deal with that later.
You're like, the pressing is depressing.
Yeah, log press is not the best. 200 is going to be very heavy for me, but we're hoping to go out there and give it a shot. And then I'm looking forward to a lot of like the frame carry is going to be great. That's going to be exciting, especially with the moving, and the movement medley is going to be great for me as well. Any sort of movement event, I'm absolutely killer at. I love it.
All right. So you were telling me that you're going to high school. You also do you're in softball season right now, and you're training for Clash on the Coast. How are you balancing all that?
It's a lot of hard work, I have to say. There's some early mornings and there's some late nights. Sometimes I go to train in the morning around like 4 a.m. because it's a 30-minute commute to my gym. So it's a long drive out there to get there, train, and then come back for school, which starts at 8 o'clock, I think. And then softball practice in the afternoon. And if I don't get in a morning session, then I get in a session after softball, which leaves me out till about 10 o'clock at night. So generally, you'll see me in between sets doing homework at the gym, or you'll see me, That's
the most legit reason I've ever heard for long rests between sets.
This is true. It does give me nice long rest. You'll see me doing homework in between sets, or you'll see me reading my textbook while I'm doing cardio. It's quite a jam to try and fit it in there.
Do you find it intimidating that you're finally going to meet a lot of the athletes that you've kind of been following and looking up to these last few years?
I do a little bit, but I also like to remember that, they're people too, and they're putting just as much work into this as I am. So I kind of like to view them as colleagues more than something that I'm like, obviously I am probably most likely going to have some fangirl moments, but I do like to remember that, just like me, they're working just as hard as I am, and they're in the same sport as I am. They're just colleagues. So I'm excited to get to meet them and to learn from them and to grow in the sport, picking up things from people who know a lot better than I do.
So what are the must things you have to have with you when you travel for a competition?
I want to say probably snacks for after weigh-ins. I'm a huge junk food person, which is terrible for my nutrition, but I love cookies after weigh-ins. That has to come with me. I can't
What kind of cookies?
When I'm not on a cut, I eat ice cream every night. So I got to have the cookies with me.
What kind of cookies?
Probably, oh my gosh, is it Farmhouse? What's those ones? Pepperidge Farm.
Mom, you're the one in charge of snacks.
She's the one who buys the stuff.
I love that. How much of a cut are you doing right now?
It's not bad. I think I'm only cutting down 5 or 6 pounds, so it'll just be a water cut.
Okay, good. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. So what else do you have to take with you when you travel? I've heard people have to take a blanket that they love, a pillow that they love, hair product for Johnny because he likes to have his crazy hair going on. What about you?
Probably a book, a good book to read on the way there.
What do you like to read?
Right now I'm really into classics, classic literature. I just finished a bunch of Jane Austen novels and the Bronte sisters type stuff. And right now I'm taking a shot at War and Peace. So
all right.
Really big.
How's that shot going?
I'm 200 pages in. It's pretty good so far. It's a lot of character development right now, but it's really good.
Oh yeah, you're a 10th of the way into the book with 200 pages?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's 2,000 pages.
So with as busy as your schedule is and you're reading, so do you what do you do for fun?
Right now, actually, my dad recently just picked up for Christmas. He got a lathe, and I'm learning a lot about that from him. I also like to just hang out a lathe. It's it's a woodworking tool. It spins really fast so that you can carve cool things on it. Okay. He's gonna eventually do a chess set with it, I think, but I'm not that far.
Do you play chess?
No, I have no idea how to play chess.
Oh, okay.
I wish I did. It's definitely something I missed out on learning.
I started learning chess 3 years ago, right after the Queen's Gambit. So it's never too late. It's a lot of fun.
Got a lot of people into it.
If your dad's on chess.com, tell him to add me. Unless he's really good, then don't tell him to add me.
Okay. Yeah, I
so
like
what are
to
the-
that,
Go
and I
ahead.
like to hang out with my buddies a lot because I am a high school student. So I just go out with my friends to the mall or the movies, typical stuff like that.
Do they ever poke fun of your strength by saying that like you're their bodyguard or anything like that?
Sometimes, yeah. They fondly were calling me future world's strongest woman for the longest time. A lot of my softball friends call me that too. So hopefully that does come true one day. But a lot of my close friends are more of like my gym buddies, so we train together, which isn't. So I don't get a lot of crap for that.
What are some events that you haven't done at a competition that you're looking forward to trying for the first time in the future?
Probably something cool. I haven't done like a Conan's wheel before. Finger fingers would be so cool. My buddy, I just got her into competing strongman. She competed at the barn with me about a month ago after Clash, and she's going to compete at a local gym near us, and there's finger fingers at it. It's going to be the coolest thing ever. I'm so excited for her. That's definitely one I want to try.
That you better keep working on that shoulder strength then for sure.
Yeah, I know.
Whatchamacallit? So we were talking about the events that you're looking forward to. What does the next year look like for you?
After Clash, probably going to start looking for OSG qualifiers, maybe some local shows, get some more of those under my belt. Honestly, I'm just looking to get a lot more experience. I've only competed maybe 8 times, and I don't have a lot of experience competing. So I'd like to get a little bit more experience under my belt with that before I go to another big show.
I like how you've done 8 competitions and half of them are like big national or actually world competitions like OSG and Clash. That's interesting. Strong start there. What about non-strongman? What are you looking forward to achieve this next year?
I'm excited to get out of high school. We are starting hopefully soon looking at colleges and eventually graduating, which would be nice. And I'm looking at hopefully majoring in kinesiology. I want to go into something with physical therapy, like return to play type stuff. So I'm excited to get out of high school and start my college experience.
Are your parents ready for you to leave the house and go to college?
Probably not. My dad's over here shaking his head. He's saying no. I think so. My brother went off probably 2 years ago, and I don't think they're even done accepting that because he's close enough that it's okay. But I'm not sure that I want to stay super close. We'll see. But I don't think they're ready for me to leave.
What are some of the schools you're looking at?
Right now, we only have one on the list, but we have JMU on the list. And then I'm probably going to look at some Southern schools. We'll see what comes up.
Okay. What do you do for your mental health, like to keep that healthy?
I like to hang out with my friends a lot. I think they're a great block for me to have in my life. There's something, they're going to be there for me no matter what. And I like to lean on them. And I also like to lift. That is mainly my thing that I do to get rid of any stresses, but it's nice to have my buddies there with me.
Yeah, a good support system is always great for the mental health. Lifting, take out that extra energy that sometimes being anxious or stressed about helps out as well. Do you ever feel extra stress from your lifting because it's for the purpose of competing?
For sure, yeah. I going into OSG was quite surreal to me that I was going to be there. I did not, for the longest time, I had built up this idea of I'm going to go to OSG. When I started lifting and doing strongman, I was looking at programs on Strength Leap before my brother was coaching me. And I had seen the little OSG program and I was like, what's OSG? I was kind of curious about it. And I looked it up and that was the day I decided I'm going to go to that eventually. I'm going to be the world's strongest woman one day. And then a year later, I'm at OSG and it's very, very surreal to me that I was there among all these people that I've been watching along my journey. So it can get quite stressful, and I do fall to that sometimes. But I have to remember, I'm still quite young in the sport, and there's still a lot for me to learn and pick up. So there's still some time for me to mature and get a little bit better at these big shows.
What do you prefer, the fast pace of a Clash competition or the traditional competition that we see at OSG where you have all the different weight classes going in one day or
I think
2 or 3 days?
Yeah, I think I'll definitely enjoy a shorter show a lot better because when you think about like a big show, you have to spike your adrenaline and then calm back down and then spike your adrenaline again, and it's very tiring. OSG I think was my first. I didn't get to do a 2-day show with it because of the hurricane.
Yeah,
but,
Hurricane Nicole.
So Clash Qualifiers was actually my first 2-day show, and even that was tiring. It was a lot of like spiking your adrenaline and then coming back down, and it's very mentally draining like that. So I think I will enjoy the shorter show, although it's probably going to be a lot harder on my body. I think it'll be easier mentally.
Yeah, because it's one of those, like I emceed the under 64 kilo class competition from last year, and it was one of the first times I had seen that pace. We knocked out that competition in 2.5 hours or a little bit less, and that was still like 30 minutes over what the goal originally was. And one of the complaints was it was fast paced, but it was because they hadn't ever trained for that pace.
Right.
But they like the fact that, you're constantly just staying warm the entire time. So I prefer the shorter competitions as well. And since I'll be emceeing this one, I'm sorry for pushing the pace as hard as we'll be pushing. Please don't hate me. I'll bring extra cookies. All right.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think that's not something you see very often is the fast-paced shows. Like even at local shows, it's long. It's going to be nice to have a short day.
Yeah, well, Tyler does a good job of making sure that everything's set up for the fast pace to actually be there because you have the right volunteers. You've seen the judges that you're going to have. So they're pros. They've done this countless times, so they know what the expectation is. And then also like me being part of this before, like I know exactly what's expected. Right. So I also want to be able to push the volunteers that they have and the setup that they have. Do you have any thoughts or feelings about this show being on ESPN?
I think that's going to be the coolest thing ever. I've been talking it up to all my buddies. Like, oh my goodness, it's going to be so cool to be on TV, especially on something like ESPN. And I know we're running at the same time as March Madness, but that's going to be super, super cool for me. It's going to be a great experience.
Are you doing a bracket for March Madness?
No, but a bunch of my friends, they actually had one at our school and I almost signed up for it, but I don't know enough about basketball to do that.
I've literally done the brackets by just picking like colors. Because
right.
They say that if you just pick the blues, you usually have a good chance of like going all the way because of all the like what is it, Duke, North Carolina, and all the other teams that usually have blue. Yeah, so I'm on the same boat. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm gonna have some fun with it. All right, Sophia, it's been so much fun talking to you. Do you have any final words for everybody out there?
I'm just super, super excited to show up to Clash and show everybody what I've got, man.
All right. When are you flying in?
I am driving in on Thursday. It's going to be about a 10-hour drive with me and my brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do not miss those long drives.
Oh, it's going to be long.
Oh, man, especially with your brother.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. All right. I will see you. You said Wednesday? You're driving in on Wednesday?
Thursday.
You're cutting it close. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I'll see you Thursday. Thank you so much for jumping on here, and let's have some fun next week, all right?
Thank you for having me.
Let's go.